Hey guys, just before the podcast starts, I wanted to say that the mic quality isn't amazing. We had to record it for a PlayStation party, which is obviously not the ideal way to record a podcast because due to COVID restrictions in the UK, neither me or Heggie could get to a recording studio. But hopefully we'll be able to get back into a recording studio soon. If you're listening to this on Spotify and you hear the sound from the intro repeated, that means it's a segue between different sections. If you're watching on YouTube, then you're obviously going to be able to see that. Also, if you're listening on Spotify and you hear any mention of links or comments, then obviously you can't do anything about it unless you're on the YouTube version. And if you're on YouTube and you want to listen on Spotify, there will be a link to it in the description. Maybe not right away, but we will post a link to it eventually. And if you're able to click the link in the description to check out Paradise351's channel, please do so. He made the avatars for this video and they're really good. He helped out a lot with this. With all that being said, let's get into the podcast.
Welcome to Franchise Fight, the new show on the DaGamingGamer channel, hosted by me, Heggie, and DaGamingGamer, also known as John.
That's me.
Screen Junkies have already made a thing called this about 2 years ago, but they did one episode and I've left it, so we're just taking it and so they can fuck off.
We're just gonna adopt their name since they've not touched the series in years.
Yeah, pretty much that. So this is the first episode. We're going to explain the show in a bit more detail, but you'll get used to it when the more episodes come out.
So basically, is it 4 categories we split it up into?
Yep, 4 categories we split up into.
So we'll take 2 series, or 2 characters from different series.
Yep, and we compare the series. So our first section would be like, what's the overall better series, comparing them, debating about that. Then the second's the better character.
And then, so we've got better series, better character. Who would do better in the other person's universe, and who would win the death battle?
Last section, section 4, section 3 is the death battle.
Oh right, but those are still the 4 sections.
Yeah, they're still the 4 sections. So this is we've got, on the screen you could probably see wee cartoon avatars. Those are made by our good friend Duncan, also known as Paradise City 351 or Paradise 351, one of the two. His YouTube will be down in the description. Also make sure to like and subscribe for more episodes of Franchise Fight.
Yep.
And they might be on Spotify at some point, if I can work that out.
If you're watching this on Spotify, hello, we've never used Spotify to upload, so it'll be a hassle getting it on. Yeah,
so we're going to need to, we'll work a way out how to do it.
We'll find a way to get it on Spotify.
Just like the podcast area.
Yeah, but most people will be watching this on YouTube. Apple do podcasts.
Yeah, Apple do podcasts.
I didn't know that was a thing. I've never heard of anybody getting their podcast on Apple Music.
Nah, it's a thing. No one uses Apple Music anyway.
Oh well. Still, we could try, but more people listen on Spotify than Apple then. Okay,
so we're going to be a bit off track. So
we haven't even said what we're doing yet. So.
Oh yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. So the first episode is we've got. I'm going to be the 2 series we've got is Undertale and Assassination Classroom, and the characters we've chosen is Sans and Koro-Sensei. So I'm going to be debating for Koro-Sensei from Assassination Classroom.
And I'll be debating for Undertale and Sans, because Undertale and Sans or something, don't know.
But funny Sans Undertale.
Yeah, yeah. But okay. both of us will debate for, we've picked a character, it'll be at random unless I decide I want the better character because it's my show.
Yeah, we've split them up and decided.
Yeah, I know, I was joking.
Yeah, there's some shit you've not seen that I'll be debating for.
Well, I don't know much about Assassination Classroom. I know more about Undertale, which is why I've chosen Undertale.
Yeah, so
I know more about Sans as a character since I used to overuse him on Versus series.
Oh, but it was 2016. Sans,
yeah. I think I made 12 episodes of the Versus series, and I think 4 or 5 of them were Sans battles.
Nah, they don't. Do you know what they don't live up to? Cthulhu versus Keemstar.
Oh no! Don't get me started. Don't get me started. We're getting off track already.
We're getting off track, but watch Cthulhu versus Keemstar.
This is what we're bad at, is getting off track.
You'll come to learn that we'll just get on a tangent and for about a few minutes.
Yeah, this is why we're better at podcasts and videos.
Because we can't script videos that well because we get distracted easily.
Yeah. So is it? What's the first point then? What's the first one we're debating?
First section is the better series.
So which series is better overall? Assassination Classroom or Undertale?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yep.
Okay, so do you want to go first since it's your channel?
What, give points for Undertale?
Give point, we'll give a point, I'll give a point, then we'll just argue till
Hmm.
we've came to like, a conclusion, I think.
Yeah. So I think
Okay.
the characters have more characterisation than Undertale, for what I can tell. Because
Oh,
no, sorry, you can go.
that's definitely right. I thought, especially if you look at the design, Undertale they stand out a lot more than Assassination Classroom because they're more unique, whereas the Assassination Classroom kind of get lost in the fact that there's about 25 children and then there's some teachers and that.
Like the only character I know from Assassination Classroom is Koro-Sensei, and then the one that you said was was going to be a teacher or something. The student that was wanting to become a teacher, yeah. Whereas in Undertale, there are a lot of iconic characters. Like if you look at the versus debating genre, if you leave Death Battle out of it because they've never used an Undertale character, everywhere's used Sans, Papyrus, Undyne, Asgore, Azrael, probably even Toriel, Flower, yeah.
Maybe even Kara, because
Kara's been overused as well, yeah.
Yeah, but what you're saying about how Undertale stands out in the Assassination Classroom, the character design does try and even though the characters themselves don't stand out, the character design does try and like do subtle things like, oh, this person's got, especially for the main characters, they show that their like hair colours and clothes they wear and all that try and make them stand out more. Like probably like three of the main characters from students from Assassination Classroom, Nagisa, Kayano and Karma, all have different coloured hair than everyone else and they stand out more.
Well, like the Simpsons, they're the only ones with the hair shape.
No, they've got like, yeah, kind of like that actually, but it's just that. But then even then, like some characters have certain trims and faces that just make them like, oh, that's such and such. That's the one that does that, or that's one that likes that. Even though you can't remember them much, the art style still tries to make them look very distinct.
But in Undertale, characters stand out a lot more. Like there's not a character you won't look at a character and think, are they from Undertale? If they're from Undertale, you won't question it. If you see a picture of them and you've seen them before, you go, that's an Undertale character. Like Sans and Papyrus are skeletons. They stand out. They're iconic looking characters. Kara's got yellow skin and a big butcher knife. Stands out. Azrael and Toriel are goats or something. Are they goats?
Yeah, they're goat people things.
But they stand out. You look at them and you think that's the Undertale characters. Even if you don't know the names, you'll go, oh, I've seen them before in Undertale, or in an Undertale video.
Yeah, especially Sans. Sans is like he's like the main Undertale one, I'd say. Everyone's heard of Sans. Like,
And the fact that they speak in fonts as well, like Sans speaks in Comic Sans and Papyrus speaks in whatever Papyrus font it is, but it's got Papyrus in the name and all that.
Papyrus, yeah.
I didn't know if I had a longer name, that was all.
Nah, it's just called Papyrus, but that is one thing it's a really subtle detail, but it's in Undertale, but it's really cool. It's like Sans, you always see them in Comic Sans, and then like even some obscure casters like WD Gaster, he speaks in
Wingdings, yeah. It adds more characterisation. It makes them more unique. It makes them stand out more than characters from different franchises.
It also gives like YouTubers who like have played the game a chance to go do voices and give characters voices. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of people that I know about Undertale have seen Jacksepticeye play it, and he's like, and his voices will stand out a bit. Because that's like, if I think of an Undertale voice, I'd roughly think around his personally.
Oh, that just gave me a point for the next category actually. I'll leave that just now. Though.
I'm helping you here, but
I know.
I'm not biased.
I know. I'll probably forget the point, but what you say.
That's fine.
For the next category, we'll get onto that in a bit. But the point that I've just thought of is that, how do I explain it? Is that because the characters in Undertale are from a game as opposed to a TV show or is it an anime?
Yeah. It's an anime, yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was classed as anime, that was all.
It's probably a manga as well.
Yeah, but because they're from a game, it makes it to a wider audience, because people who are younger will watch Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, whoever plays games now, Corpse Husband, play Undertale.
Yeah,
if he was out during Undertale, they would have watched.
He'd be Undertale main protagonist.
Yeah. Yeah, but because people would watch YouTubers play games, and Undertale's a game, it gets it a wider audience to appeal to, because it'll appeal to people who want to watch a YouTuber, and then people will go, oh, that's a cool game, I want to play it because of the YouTuber.
Yeah, that's definitely, especially because Undertale was really big when it was coming out. You'd see every of like the big gaming YouTubers, oh, they're playing Undertale, oh, are they doing Genocide, are they doing Pacifist, are they doing Max? It's like such a big thing. It really blew up. It was like all over YouTube back in the day.
Yeah. Do you want to make? Do you want to
thing,
make a point? Oh, sorry, I'll let you speak.
I was gonna make a point there if I do ask them.
On you go.
Now, so one of the things about Assassination Classroom that I really like is how it's, for the show, such a stupidly ridiculous concept of, oh, there's a teacher that's blown up a moon and the kids have to assassinate him for 10 billion yen by the end of the school year or he's going to blow up the planet. It's surprisingly got a lot of emotional depth to it. Like, it's like, because especially with Koro-Sensei, such a complicated character, but it kind of mainly boils down to, he cares about these children, he wants them to succeed in life, and he's just a good guy in general, and it's like, for such a ridiculous plot, it genuinely makes someone like Koro-Sensei, who looks nothing like a human, feel like a human.
Yeah. Yeah, it does have characterization, you're right. But yeah, I don't think it stands out as much as Undertale because the full cast is characterized completely, uniquely.
Yeah, that's the thing, like, in Assassination Classroom, Koro-Sensei is pretty much the main character. He's the one that is like always centre stage almost all the time. Then you give it to other like more main characters like Nagisa, Karma, all the other ones.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah, but like Koro-Sensei is the focus, whereas in Undertale, there's not like you play as a character, but you don't just focus on the character. You focus on what's going on. You focus on the actions of all the other characters that you meet as well.
Yeah, and like Undertale does also do the same emotional depth. Like when like you meet Toriel, it's like, especially in Genocide, the fact that you have to kill Toriel, who's a woman who found you and they'll just be nice to you. They really try and like she just lets you kill her. It's like a really. Oh wait, probably should mention there's spoilers for both things in this.
Oh,
I'll
probably edit that in the start.
Yeah, edit that because if someone doesn't know like what happens in Undertale or
Assassination Classroom, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but that's what you got. But one of the things of Assassination Classroom that is quite good is due to Koro-Sensei being a teacher, it generally like takes a look on teachers and how they affect people's lives, how like there's bad and good teachers, like because Koro-Sensei is a solid teacher. He teaches the students well, like helps them with all the shit they're struggling with, whereas they also show bad teachers through their principal and how when he fucked up once, he was just a shit teacher and like pretty much segregated an entire group of students because they, instead of helping them because they're struggling.
Yeah, so it does have emotional depth, showing, and it has an actual point to it. Like it teaches a real lesson that makes you think about the good and bad in teachers, because the difference between Koro-Sensei and the principal.
Yeah, and teachers are a really important part of people's lives. They're like, well, where would you be without a teacher, in all honesty?
Yeah.
Like, they teach you how to read, learn, write, how to pretty much live.
Yeah. Not to pay taxes, though.
Not to pay taxes, but like, that's another problem.
Who pays taxes in the first place?
Do you know what one no one really should play? The TV license.
Oh, we're not getting into this.
We're not getting into this. BBC sponsor us.
We're not getting sponsored by the BBC.
Okay, let's keep it going.
That's all I can really say for Undertale. There's more oh no.
Okay.
Like my last point, the music. I've never heard anybody say, "Oh, did you hear that song from Assassination Classroom?"
Yeah, you've definitely got me a strong point. The Undertale soundtrack is like iconic. Like, everyone's heard Megalovania, even if they've not played Undertale.
Even if it's just some memes or some like any fight related YouTube video or like I know most everybody I know. You'll say "Do you ken Megalovania?" and they go do 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 like that. And even that, like there are a lot of songs in it, like Spider Dance, song they might play when you fight Sans, Bone Trussle.
Death by Glamour.
Yeah, Death by Glamour. Songs that just stand out, and I've never heard any of them go, oh, did you hear the song from Assassination Classroom? Whereas you get people who avidly listen to Undertale soundtrack.
Yeah, it's like stands out a lot more. Like Assassination Classroom, you've really got where this point is they kinda even the opening themes for an anime, which are sometimes can be like quite strong as an opening. The Assassination Classroom really struggles. It's like, oh, it's just, especially the visual aspect, which is like another thing. The anime openings are normally meant to be. They're meant to be like fast-paced, cool action scenes with.
It's
like,
meant to showcase it. It's meant to like exaggerate it and show, oh, this is what the series could be.
I would say is with Assassination Classroom, since it's more of like a comedy episodic type anime, the opening does kind of get that, but the song doesn't like stand out. Even like I think there's 3 or 4 of them. None of them really stand out a lot compared to the Undertale soundtrack.
Yeah, like there are animes which stand out with their intros, like Initial D. I've never watched Initial D, but everybody's heard Deja Vu, the song from it.
And like everyone would have heard like the first Attack on Titan and Attack on Titan opening, like, they're going on about having sex with a beast in the Eagles.
Or whatever it actually says in Japanese, we'll ask Tadashi. But like the point that I'm making is they've not really got an excuse, because they could get a good anime opening, they could convey the show well in the intro with the song, like Initial D and Attack on Titan, Naruto, My Hero Academia.
Some that has, you're like, oh, that's another one anime that opening that stands, or getting a wee bit tangent, but stands out is Tokyo Ghoul's first one. It's like,
no, I get you,
really like stands out. It's like how, but whereas Assassination Classrooms just kind of feels a bit meh on like anime.
It doesn't make you go, wow, this is Assassination Classroom.
You're like, oh, what's this? Oh yeah, this
is the intro for Assassination Classroom.
Like,
I want the episode to start.
Assassination Classroom is a bad show. I really enjoyed it when I watched it. I thought it was genuinely quite. It had like some fun, and like I liked how it referenced a bunch of other things, like how Naruto got referenced and like Dragon Ball, and that was referenced. I found that quite cool.
Yeah.
But it was just the opening just doesn't stand out, and it's kind of like one of the weaker parts of the show.
Yeah, whereas Undertale, the music is what makes it stand out, and so is even the intro to Undertale, where you see the person falling and it plays the wee tune. It plays dun 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 dun. That one.
Yeah, and like
that stands out. That's like the Undertale intro, but nobody really goes, oh, have you seen the Undertale intro, or this is the intro of Undertale? Yeah. But you'll see it and you go, that's the Undertale intro. It stands out. Yeah.
Like, you could hear that music and you could, oh, that's the Undertale intro music.
Well, I've seen it in memes. I've seen it in videos of Luigi falling from the sky, and I think that's the Undertale song.
The Luigi, it's like the Luigi falling from the sky, and it just has the text Undertale.
Yeah, and like. Even if you didn't know about it, I would know, because I played it. I'd forgotten about the intro even existing until I seen it, and I went, oh yeah, that's what happens in the Undertale intro, and that's the song from it.
Okay, I'm going to say we conclude this section. I'm personally saying you've won this round. That's my honest opinion.
There was not much argument to it. You can like either series, but Undertale stands out more, in my opinion.
I'm not saying Assassination Classroom is bad. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely up there on animes I've seen, but it's just not as iconic and as like widely. It's like Undertale's iconic. It's like everyone knows Sans, everyone knows the music, characters stand out a lot.
Everybody knows the name Undertale. If you see Assassination Classroom to the general public, they'll go, what the fuck's that?
But the one thing I would say is, like, I think for a lot of anime that's not like stupidly big.
No, I know, it's understandable, but even if it's an unfair argument, Undertale is a lot more iconic.
Yeah, Undertale is like everyone's at least heard of Sans, everyone's heard of one of the characters or heard one of the songs.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. That's how Undertale is. It just stands out a lot more than Assassination Classroom.
I did have a few points against Undertale actually that I wrote down, but you didn't say any of them actually.
I didn't. I like Undertale. I don't have, but
the points what I made were, The cast is smaller than Assassination Classroom, but that's yeah, that's why they're more characterised. They're more.
Yeah, like it's like, for example, My Hero Academia. You've got Class 1A, but only about half to a quarter of the class stand out, and some are just shit and meh. Like, but that's with like Assassination Classroom, because it's got such a. You have all of Class 3E, and a lot of them are barely featured. It's kind of like, oh, who's that again?
Yeah.
There's like Undertale. You're like, oh, that's Sans, that's Papyrus, that's Asgore, that's Toriel, and that's.
Yeah,
so
totally get what you mean. The only
like,
other points that I'd made, that I'd written against it, I was going to use these. I was just trying to think of counter arguments for if you said them, but you didn't actually say any of them. Was that Assassination Classroom has the potential for spin-offs, because you and Leo were talking about that, weren't you?
Yeah, we were. We're talking about how at the end they could have shown more of Nagisa being like having his own spin-off of like being like essentially Koro-Sensei the sequel.
Yeah.
Which would have been interesting. And then, but Undertale, you've got Deltarune, which is like a which I'm pretty sure is a flat
It's like
sequel.
it's like a successor, isn't it? I don't think it continues the story in any way.
I don't know anything about it, but I thought it was a full-on sequel.
Is it like Final Fantasy sequels? How it's like this? It was like a similar gameplay.
It might be like a Final Fantasy type sequel.
Yeah.
I generally don't know. But so the section 1, I'd say we call it here, and I'll give the point to you. I want to make a note down of that.
Can I quickly say my last point, because I just want to include it?
Say your last point. I'll make a note.
Undertale fan base.
Oh no.
That's the point.
No,
we're not elaborating. I just wanted to say that Undertale fan base is fucking dreadful. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, we're not. We're not going on about the Undertale fan base.
No. So round to me.
Okay, let me just note that down and then we'll move on. Okay, we're back for section 2 after we've had a quick break and saved the recording of section 1. Everything sounds like it's decent, so let's continue. So section 2 is going to be the better character out of Koro-Sensei and Sans. I'm going to go first since you went first last time, if that's fine with you.
That's fair.
Okay. One thing I'd say that, in my personal opinion, that makes Koro-Sensei a better character than Sans is his design stands out a lot more than Sans does. Because like Sans it's a short skeleton and like a hoodie.
Koro-Sensei does stand out, yeah.
Like, especially comparing him to the rest of the Assassination Classroom, no one else is a bright, like a big octopus and like in a graduation hat and gown with a tie and a big giant head.
I'll give you that, it does have an iconic design, but that's compared to the rest of the class and the rest of the characters. But Sans just has an iconic design overall. Like, more people will be able to recognise Sans in Koro-Sensei.
You do have a good point there, but as a overall, like comparing character design to character design, Koro-Sensei is a lot better than Sans, in my honest opinion.
It's a more complicated design, but Sans, the simplicity works. It's just skeleton face with holes, and then a blue hoodie, and then pink baffies.
You do have it, and then like, that is a good point. But the one thing is, Koro-Sensei is a big part, like especially his face, his facial expressions, how they change colour, how they get shaped, and that's like really, it kind of has like a bit, almost type of physical comedy to it that helps the Assassination Classroom. Like his face goes bright pink when he's looking at tits and that. Like that really that's a genuine example.
No, I know.
Taking the piss. He loves them. He honestly does.
But no, I get you. Like the changing colours of his face are quite iconic. It shows the character well. Like, it presents his emotions physically.
And it shows, like, especially like ones he does commonly. Like, see when he's asking the students a question, he'd put like an X. His face goes like red with an X when he gets a question. When like he says something, when someone gets a question wrong, and then it gets a circle and they get it right, and it's always like, it kind of like helps reinforce his teaching methods, because the core of his character, he is a teacher who cares about his students, as I've already said.
Yeah, you're right, yeah. But about Sans has a really basic design, like I've said. But I think it works for him because he's iconic. He's one of the most iconic Undertale characters, if not the most iconic Undertale character.
Oh,
You'll see,
he is definitely up there.
you see Undertale and you think, oh, that's one with the funny skeleton man Sans in it.
The funny skeleton man Sans with a funny song that goes boo 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 boo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're on about, like.
And even the fact, sorry, when you go.
That's also got to do with the fact Undertale is a lot more popular and iconic than Assassination Classroom. Like, no one's going to be like, oh yeah, that's Koro-Sensei, like, when they see like a giant octopus man, unless they know of Assassination Classroom. Someone's like, oh look, there's that funny skeleton man from the memes.
I get what you mean.
So,
because Sans stands out more, like, Koro-Sensei stands out for having great character design because he's completely unique, but Sans stands out by trying to do the opposite because he's really generic looking, but because it's a generic look that nobody's ever done before, it's become iconic and unanimous. Oh, is it unanimous? Is that the right word? Or synonymous. Synonymous with him.
I can't really honestly think of
like associated with him. Like it's
I think synonymous. I don't think unanimous. I think
no,
that might be synonymous.
It's synonymous, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know these words.
But even though it's a generic design, he's the character. He is the character with that generic design, so it stands out, and you think that's Sans.
It's not a design that's like it's been done to death. Like, no. The one example I'm saying is the Superman type design. A red and blue
plain coloured plain coloured outfit, a cape, big muscles, boxers or pants over the front of the trousers.
Like, sure, that's Superman's design, but there's you can name about 20 heroes unrelated to Superman with a very similar design. And it's like, but whereas Sans does have his, even though it's a basic design, it does help him stand out, like Koro-Sensei's, but his is more complicated and that, because like...
Well, he has a generic face, but his outfit's complicated, like the technicals and everything as well.
Yeah, he's fit, but he's like, in the whole put, he's like, but I think that works really well for Assassination Classroom's storytelling. It's pretty much like from the get-go, his entire character thing helps you identify, oh, this is who they're assassinating. Like, say if you put a normal human that could do the exact same things as he could. You wouldn't think, oh,
he's a threat, this is going to be good. You would just be like,
oh, he just looks like... the only one I'm thinking of is, say, you've seen Assassination Classroom, Koro-sama, the other teacher, the government man, it was Koro-Sensei and his design. I know Koro-Sensei has dressed up as him, but if it's just he was Koro-Sensei, that's how he looked. I'd lose a lot of the like comedy and like storytelling if it wasn't a big ridiculous octopus man.
And he does add a lot to the show, like, because of who he is and
like,
the colours of his face, his expression, his personality and everything. It
really like stands out, and like how a lot of the things is like how he's like, and I've just in the early episodes, since he's such a big octopus, he just fly away, go get some scran from China and then come back. And then he's like, no, I'm genuinely serious, since he moves at Mach 20, he went all the way to Brazil to watch a football game. And that. Excellent. And like he gave some of the students a lift to go watch a movie premiere. Also, this kind of moves on to another point. He's generally just a really nice guy. He's got a lot of flaws, but he's really nice. It's like when one of the Nagisa was like the main student, when his mom was going to complain about how he's still in the E class, and like Kurosama, who's like the official teacher, quote unquote, was away doing government shite, Koro-Sensei dressed up like him and spoke of his mom, like, and try and get things sorted, not because he had to, because he chose to. He could have let the boy just get kicked out of the class or be told off by his mum or whatever, but he didn't. He just cares about the students. He would have conversation with them like, oh, what do you want to do when you're older? This is that, and like it would generally help them. It was like there's a few study scenes, but what it is due to his speed, he can make essentially what shadow clones from Naruto. Like from Naruto, and he would go about and he would like teach every individual student simultaneously on what they're weak at and like help them individually all at once, and like in return was like a really effective teacher for them because they all placed top 50 on their final exams out of the entire school.
Excellent. But like, yeah, you're right, he cares a lot about the characters. Sans is the same, though Sans is similar because Sans does care about Kara. You know what Sans' main point is, like, he's decent, he just kinda cuts about, he's not like a villain.
Especially Papyrus, he cares a lot about Papyrus and...
He does deeply care about Papyrus, yeah, because his brother.
It's his brother, and that's like a really good thing, it's like about his characters. He cares about Papyrus, he wants to like, he's like, oh yeah, pretend, I'm pretty sure he's like, oh pretend the trap works and he captures you because he wants to be a royal guard, and he's generally trying to be nice to his brother.
He's trying to let his brother think, oh, I've done something decent because he's not able to on his own.
Which is that's another thing about these characters that are really good, is they're both real from their perspective. It's like, oh, skeleton, that's a stereotypical villain. Oh, big octopus monster, that's a stereotypical villain.
But they both have a lot of depth to them.
They have a lot of depth, and they're generally just friendly and nice and care about people.
I don't know who to give this round to, in all honesty.
I feel like we can go in a bit more detail on it as well.
I could do.
I'm saying one of the things about Koro-Sensei I do like is how he is very, very humanised, because he's shown to have a lot of flaws throughout the series. Like, he is shown, especially mainly through a storytelling point, through Nagisa's notebook about, oh, this is his weaknesses and all that. It's generally shown that he has a lot of flaws. Like I said earlier, he's distracted easily by tits, he also loves sweets, and like another one is like he wants to help protect the students, and and that he's like genuinely like cares about them, and like he can't, and he's got a lot of weaknesses for being such a powerful character, like how he can't go in water, and like he has a lot of mucus on him and all this kind of stuff. Where it generally shows that this character, he's not a two-dimensional character that is like,
the character has flaws to them, but it's not like, aye, look, I'm fast, you can't do anything to stop me, I'm unkillable, I'm going to blow up there.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, I'm bulletproof, oh, I can move at Mach 20, I can blow up the earth. It's like, no, he's even like, he is a human, but even when you don't know that, he still feels really human. Cause like, it feels like he would just be a person due to how much of the flaws he's got. And it's like generally humanises a character that looks nothing like us, which is really effective, I'd say.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Because at first glance you wouldn't think, oh, that's a person that's been made to look like that. But you come to learn, not only he is a human actually, isn't he? Just to double check.
He's a human.
Yeah, but
he was a human before.
Yeah, I thought so. But even if you thought he was just a monster, even the fact that he's got so many flaws to him, and the fact that he has actual deep emotional connections with characters, shows that you can actually relate to him on an emotional level, and he's not just a two-dimensional character like you were saying. He's
not like, oh, I am a character, I am the protagonist, I have no flaws. He is like genuinely, and he's like, all the time he can struggle with students and try and get them like to like teach them, especially one of the main characters. I honestly can't remember his name, but he's like the one that he comes in saying he's Itana, that's it. I couldn't remember his name, but he comes into the series and he's like, oh, I was meant to come in, I'm meant to fight Koro-Sensei, I've got tentacles too, I'm powerful. And then like in Koro-Sensei you could see him genuinely struggling to try and get him to be good, even though he eventually does, but he generally struggles and wants to help the child.
Yeah, he doesn't give up, he helps the child. He could have just weathered them.
Yeah,
but instead he made him good, yeah.
Same within the final fight with when he fights his apprentice, Reaper 2.0 as it's called in the dub, or God of Death 2.0 as it's called in the
God of Death's a much cooler name.
It's such a better name. I wish I learned about that, and it's like the other day and I thought, oh, why did they not do that in the dub? Like,
but what were you saying?
But it's like, even though Koro-Sensei is like, even though he was completely outmatched, he was able to work out what to do and didn't give up. Like he's like when he was fighting someone that was double his strength and speed.
He's a determined character, yeah.
Yeah, which is the determination's a big thing in Undertale as well. It's like,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
But he generally was like, I need to win this. I need to like protect the students. I need to help them succeed in life. I need to do this.
Mm-hmm. So, like both characters, you wouldn't think they're human right away because Sans a skeleton. You might think, oh, it's a dead person. But is he obviously a monster? I thought it was a monster.
Yeah, they're all monsters in Undertale, but a skeleton, it's like they're commonly associated.
It's like
monsters, Halloween, death.
It's like they're like dehumanized because it's like a skeleton. It's like, oh, villainous, horrible.
It's like zombies, that kind of thing. It's like, oh, they're just.
You don't see a zombie and think, oh, I can relate to them. They've got emotional depth and actual character development.
You think, oh, they're just a dead person walking about trying to scram brains.
Mm-hmm. But Sans is more than that because, as we've explained, you can relate to him. He has actual deep emotional connections. He actually cares about characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. They're both characters that have a lot of depth, despite how they look, despite like how they appear as like a monster, a villain, someone that's just someone that goes against the protagonist, like someone that they're like your classic, like I feel like Koro-Sensei seems like he'd be like a golden age comics like villain, big mental octopus with a
he's like a stereotypical villain, but he's not really a villain. When it comes down to it,
it's like he's never really framed as a villain. Like even though he's trying to get killed by the students, he generally gives them criticism, and like in episode 2 when I can't remember his name, the boy that tries to kill him with the baseball, he's like, oh well, that was a genuinely good thing, but you need to get a better pitch on you, and they just go and play a game of baseball.
That's something Sans would do.
Yeah, it's like, he's like, okay, what you need to do is you need to try and play to your strengths, to go for a curveball instead of a fastball, and he's generally just try to help him and prove him, even though it was kill him.
Why did your Civi just go off?
I'm taking my watch off, it does that.
Oh, right, fair enough. Like, didn't Sans stop time just to speak to the player during one scene in Gilby's? Like, I don't know what he said to the player, but the fact that he spoke time just to talk to the player,
he did.
and he did. Doesn't even matter what they're talking about, but the fact that he stopped time just to speak to them, and then he walked out, he was like, yeah, put it on my tab, which is like it's explained to be packed because he never actually pays.
So it's like
another it's like a comedic point that they both share, where they're like the person that eventually leads to their downfall, or points that eventually lead to their deaths or downfall.
Their deaths, like, and like Sans genuinely they're both genuine, caring characters that even though they're going to die, they're like, doesn't Sans give you the option not to fight them?
Yeah.
In Genocide route.
Pretty
yeah,
sure.
and that's it's like, you don't have to fight me. It's like genuinely, it's like, alright, you don't, and it's like, and then it's like, because he's solid.
Like, he's strong. That's why he uses his strongest attack first. And that's something we'll discuss next round as well.
I'm saying, do you call this section here?
Yeah, sounds fair.
Who would you say? One, we'll work this out now.
Oh, I don't know, no, honestly.
I'd
obviously go with Sans, and you'd probably obviously go with Koro-Sensei, but if neither of us can go, oh yeah, that's right, the other side wins, then we'll just leave it as is.
Do you call this a draw?
Yeah. Leave up to people watching to decide.
No, so we should hopefully have an even winner in the conclusion.
Yep.
Got a draw. Save the recording again. For section 2 we're done. We've had a quick break, so we're now on to section 3, and we're having a death battle. We're not joined by Wiz and Boomstick, but like,
oh, that would be cool.
It would be cool if that would be
Let's
cool.
try Boomstick.
That's right. Stop
Don't
saying me.
don't say any other
No,
don't say
I'm
any
not.
other videos.
I'm not. Yeah,
Oh, that boomstick text to voice, text to
that
speech could be
thing.
useful.
Oh, was not gonna lie, I have a Houston connection.
Stop.
Okay, so
Right.
we're doing the death battle between Sans versus Koro-Sensei. None of us are wizard boomstick, because like,
Unfortunately.
unfortunately, I'd like a shotgun leg. That'd be fun.
Aye. You're more like Wiz because you're pansexual.
Fuck off, I'm not.
Aye.
Is this cause that's just because Wiz wanted to boss Zuko?
Yeah. Right, let's get on with it then.
Okay,
So,
let's get on to topic.
Mhm.
Okay, so death battle. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you could do.
Okay, so Koro-Sensei is planet level at his best, and due to the fact that he is able to in universe destroy entirety of Earth.
Do you know if that's true or not? Like, is it proven because he didn't do it?
It didn't happen, but it's almost likely because the scientist that created the rat on the moon who had about the same amount of tentacle cells put into him as Koro-Sensei. Blew up 70% of it, but due to Koro-Sensei's size and being a human, he was able to do he would clear the entire Earth in a year.
Right, so he's not actually done it, but it's presumable because
It's
the
not
thing
done
with the
it.
rat.
The one thing I have to say about this is he can't choose, oh, I'm going to destroy the planet now, I'm planet level. He's pretty much like, oh, I'm going to, it's pretty much, I have a small percent of chance at some time of destroying the entire planet. It's not guaranteed, but he's planet level at his best.
Right.
But not guaranteed, not consistently, but at his best.
But that would also kill him.
That, you do have a point, that would kill him, but I'd say if we were using that as an argument, Sans would lose, but we can't really, because due to the fact of how little a percentage of the chance is.
What's to say it would be an instant explosion though? What's to say Sans would get caught in the explosion?
Well,
And then he would die.
The one on the moon was quite instant, as shown in Assassination Classroom, because you see the rat and you see the moon blowing up. It was pretty much like, boom, moon gone, solid chunk, permanent crescent.
Right. So
But it's a very,
you don't think there's a chance that Sans would be able to like teleport away?
how fast is Sans again?
Oh, I don't want to get started on that. I've read somewhere he's like Mach 510,000, but I don't know.
Off. Oh, no.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That could be completely wrong because Undertale's wanky fucking versus debates depending on
no,
who
it's
you ask.
definitely like the whole fact that it's like it's either lowball to fuck or it's overpowered to fuck, and it's like it's because there's no real things you can actually calculate. Like, oh, Sans Gaster Blaster is this amount of force.
Because they don't actually do like any collateral damage or structured damage in Undertale, really. So there's no oh, Sans Gaster Blast to blow up a building or anything like that. It's just presumable.
Yeah, the only ones that are like really proven to be this level are the ones like Flowey, Annoying Dog, and Kara.
Annoying
all,
Dog.
Like, multi-versatile. No, but
for surviving the timeline they set.
Yeah, but it's that kind of thing. It's like, but I'd say so speed, but Sans, depending on if it is Mark, whatever the fuck you said.
No, I don't think he's that fast, but I think he doesn't like run fast, but he can teleport.
Yeah, his is more teleportation, where Koro-Sensei is just 20 times the speed of sound.
Right, he just moves. Does he teleport or does he like move quickly in that direction?
He moves really quick. He moves really quickly. Like I said, he can fly to China for his launch, but it takes him about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Already, like, but including time to get order and pick up the food, it's about 20 minutes from Japan.
Imagine it taking longer to make the food than it does to get there.
Yeah, and then but he's also like able to travel to like all the way to America to go see a comic book film with two students, and he's also able to focus how he shapes himself so that the aerodynamics don't affect the students
Oh, right.
when moving. So he's able to like control himself, so like that is aerodynamic enough so that the students don't get crushed by the amount of air pressure due to the speed he's going.
Oh, right. But Sans isn't fast. I don't think I've only seen Sans walk. I've never seen him like run. I think he's too lazy. He's lazy. That's like part of his personality.
He's lazy, yeah. But that's the one thing with Sans. You have to. It's a big character trait. He's like like lazy. He'll just shrug things off, but he can fucking teleport, which is like almost because you always in the Sans fight you always miss Sans until you've done like a certain amount of it because of the fact that he's so quick.
He can teleport. He can react so quickly that he can dodge it.
Yeah, and the only way you kill him is when he falls asleep. But you can say the same for Koro-Sensei. The amount of assassination attempts put on him and like general just stabs, he would always dodge it until the very end when like he lets the students kill him. And it's like it says oh, pin me down, like each of you can hold down a tentacle and that's fine. And it's like you're not doing it, and like just lets them kill him because he needs to, because he wants them to come instead of the government.
This is a question I have about Sans actually. You probably better know the answer than me. Does Sans have fourth wall awareness?
Oh, he does to an extent, definitely.
Because I know he knows he's in a game, doesn't he?
He knows he's in a game, and I'm almost certain the Sans fight is like, oh, this is the second time you've tried this. This is the, it's like this is the third time or something. And it says this is.
Oh wait, yeah, all Undertale characters have some degree of fourth wall awareness because they know about save files and stuff, don't they? Relevant ones like Sans, sorry.
Sans, Flowey, and like maybe a few other ones.
Presumably Kara, even though Kara doesn't speak.
Yeah, Kara and Frisco obviously know.
Yeah.
Because they're like
the
main protagonists.
But if Sans is, because since he has fourth wall awareness, if he's somehow aware that Assassination Classroom is an anime or that it doesn't exist really, he'd be able to learn the weaknesses of Koro-Sensei, wouldn't he?
You do have a good point. I don't know how much of an extent Sans fourth wall awareness goes to, but he definitely has a certain degree of it. So depending on how much of the degree of the fourth wall awareness would Sans like be able to
because it depends how Undertale exists, because this is going to sound like a stupid example, but the Big Bang Theory exactly. The Big Bang Theory exists in a universe where it's a parallel of our own universe, except the Big Bang Theory doesn't exist. Like they have the same TV shows like Star Trek, they have the same comics.
Yeah, they have everything that's like real world, just so like a laugh track and like funny Sheldon.
So it depends if Sans is in a universe similar to that, like he would know what Assassination Classroom was or who Koro-Sensei was before fighting him.
We don't know what the world up on the surface is like. It's never said, it's never shown how far developed the humans are. We just know that
because it could parallel RF similar to the Big Bang Theory universe. That's the only example I could give. There are probably more shows like that, but
Community, even The Simpsons to an extent, or like anything that's like most sitcoms will have some sort of pop culture references and like like you said, the Big Bang Theory. We don't really know if Assassination Classroom and anime and all that exists and how far developed the upper world is. We just know that there's human race and they know there's monsters below that. We don't know to what extent. Wait, no, there is actually anime.
Really?
Get me wrong. I'm almost certain, what's her name again? Do you know the one that makes Mettaton? The scientist?
Oh.
Do you know who I'm on about? I'm almost certain she has lines of dialogue. Alphys, she has lines of dialogue about anime.
Really? So if anime exists, then it's presumable that on the world above or in some way that universe exists inside of Undertale, isn't it?
There's some from anime. The only thing we need to know is it how far developed is it and how much anime is there and if Sans has access to it.
Yeah, and how consistent it is compared to real world anime, like whether Assassination Classroom would exist in the Undertale universe and Sans would know, I'm going to fight the boy for this show.
But in my honest opinion, I feel like anime does exist, but I feel like we can't take this as a serious point.
No, like
Because
it's not direct. Like you wouldn't be able to just go, oh yeah, Assassination Classroom exists inside Undertale. Yeah, you would be able to.
It's more of like a throwaway joke, like Alphys likes anime. It's like a throwaway bit they're just putting in.
Yeah, it's not like this anime exists. The world above is civilized and everything. It's
There's anime, because then you couldn't then you could have to argue that Five-Star not got a phone like this and that, and then it was a throwaway joke for a game that's not always the serious.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So it's like, I feel like they can't really put Sans extent of fourth wall breaking into account, and even though anime does exist, we don't know to what extent, and it was more it's probably more likely treated as a throwaway joke.
Yeah, it wasn't. It probably wasn't meant to. It probably wasn't meant to be like, oh yeah, anime exists. Oh, I just hit my mic. It's not meant to be like the world above is really civilized. There's all this. It's meant to be, oh yeah, Alphys is a fucking geek.
It's meant to be, oh, Alphys is like a wee nerd that like sits and makes robots and watches anime.
Is that not what you want to do when you're older?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm gonna make Metaton and I'm gonna make a robot and it's gonna play Death by Glamour and dance about it.
That'd be excellent.
That'd be fucking honestly. But no, it's more of a throwaway joke to fit Alphys' character than like a serious remark about the Undertale universe, because you can't always take everything literally. You have to take it with a bit of a grain of salt.
What kind of attacks does? Sorry, I'll let you finish actually.
We can argue that the Undertale might be in the Assassination Classroom. It's never, because video games are mentioned a bit, and so are comics, and especially big Shonen Jump mangas like Naruto and Dragon Ball are referenced.
Yeah.
But we can't. It's not like we can use. Oh, there's a serious point that Undertale exists and this an Assassination Classroom exists. They're just more or less throwaway gags and references.
Yeah, it's not meant to mean like they're in a universe where the other is like a lower form of like that doesn't actually exist. It's like they're in it but they're not real. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's like they're more or less there as jokes and gags and all that kind of thing, instead of like this is a serious development for the world and lore. Yeah.
The only other thing I could really say about Sans is I don't know what kind of attacks Koro-Sensei has.
He mainly just uses like his tentacles and his speed to his advantage.
But so he relies on. Can his tentacles extend decently far?
He's got a decent reach with his tentacles. To say like he can. I'm pretty sure, and he's like he can hold a lot of strength. They can pick up easily all of class 3, and that's about 25 pupils.
That's decent.
Easily, and it was like I said earlier on in the better character debate about how his determination, how he was able to beat Reaper / the God of Death 2.0 in the final battle, despite him being double his strength, shows his strategy and like his determination. Where I feel like, and honestly, Sans won't have as much intel, won't think battles as through stuff.
Because how lazy he is, yeah. But Sans could block his attacks, because Sans obviously he's not going to be like, you can just kill me.
Yeah, I feel like Sans might outspeed him, but I feel like Koro-Sensei could hit harder.
I probably could hit harder because Sans doesn't physically attack. Sans uses Gaster Blasters and Bones, doesn't he?
Yeah, and the Bones themselves do 1 damage. It's just, I think each pixel of a Gaster Blaster does 1 damage. I can't remember.
Probably.
But it's like they do a lot of damage overall, but it's like Sans is the weakest enemy in the game, quote unquote. He's not the
weakest in terms of lost health.
He's got 1 health and 1 attack, but the way he attacks is he uses a sheer shit ton of Bones and Gaster Blasters, which hurt a lot.
Yeah. So and it also makes it hard to hit him since he's so not durable.
Yeah. The Sans fight could have gone on infinitely if he didn't fall asleep. And like needed the way to do it.
Yeah.
One thing I'll have to say about Koro-Sensei is Koro-Sensei's got his absolute defense form, in which he has stated himself that he can survive a nuke in this form.
Really?
Yes, he can. He has stated himself he can survive a nuke, which is at least city level going off real world scaling of nukes, but could be stronger depending on, because we don't know how strong a nuke is exactly.
But in that form, if you went into that form in a battle, I take it would take at least a couple of seconds for him to get out of that form?
24 hours, actually. He can't do any. He's stuck in that form for a next 24 hours.
So, what advantage would he have to actually using it in battle then?
There's not much, but he's
If he felt like he had to, and Sans... Actually, yeah, because Sans could fall asleep or get bored or tired and fuck off.
Because the thing is, seeing in the end of season 1, when the students do a big, stupid fuck off assassination plan, like really thought out, really do it, and they come close to killing him, it was like a case of like a bullet being to be a slightly higher or slightly to the left. It was like very slight things that he had to use his absolute defence for, because he was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also stated that he's still alive and aware in this form, he just is immobilised for 24 hours. It can also make an explosion going in and out of it.
Oh, right.
So I feel like the one thing Sans really has the edge on him is the speed.
Yeah.
Sans,
If he can just go past him and keep going away, dodging, and then hit him.
The one thing where we could probably argue Sans does this, but he's never been shown to, is, I said this earlier as well, Koro-Sensei can make essentially about 25 shadow clones at once.
Yeah, you did say
and
that,
like,
yeah.
Maintain them separately, as well as having like one extra having a break.
But surely Sans will be able to block attacks from them, since he's got such a good reaction speed.
Yeah, I'm not. It's just that but the thing is, I'm feeling like Koro-Sensei, he did beat the Reaper 2.0. He was also the deadliest man without having any powers to go with.
Oh, right.
In the entire world. He was the deadliest assassin, killed shit tons of people, and was the best in the game.
Mm-hmm.
He was the best assassin. He was the original Reaper / God of Death.
Right.
So I feel like he generally has a bit more of an edge of like thinking and strategy to Sans. Even though he outspeeds them, Koro-Sensei has been shown to be able to fight people and beat them who are faster than him and stronger.
Yeah, I get what you mean. But what I was thinking, in terms of Sans actually being able to attack him, if Sans is faster, then surely he'd be able to just dodge whatever's thrown at him, get a break, or find a way to distract Koro-Sensei after picking up on the way he moves and everything, and just get a good hit on him.
Yeah, that is true. They're both the one thing that really Sans dies to is more likely to die to one hit than Koro-Sensei is.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I want to say this we're saying the bones and gas blasters work like the BBs and special knives to hit Koro-Sensei for sake of making the fight not stupid. Because because normal weapons don't work on them, but it's like we're specifying the fact that that's a good thing to specify. But I feel like Sans, in all honesty, Sans will get lazy and will sleep and can die from one hit, whereas Koro-Sensei, the only way he can die to one hit is his heart. Mm-hmm. You can cut off her tentacles.
I think you're right. I think in more scenarios than not, Koro-Sensei would win, because in a situation where, like, for example, Koro-Sensei was threatening Papyrus, Sans would have a reason to fight and wouldn't give up.
Yeah,
but in most situations, say the two of them bumped into each other, then
and had a fight.
Yeah, Sans would probably just give up the fight. He wouldn't have a reason to. He wouldn't be determined enough to keep going.
He wouldn't be. Whereas, like, say Sans was like, I feel like in a situation we could do is like Sans is interact with like class 3, and like Koro-Sensei could generally see, oh, there's a skeleton man posing threat to my students, and it's been shown that he does go like a lot more stronger and lethal when protecting the students, as shown in season 1 when two of the students got kidnapped, and I think it was implied that there's going to be pictures taken off them, like, not POG pictures.
Yeah,
and
not family friendly pictures.
Yeah, and then Koro-Sensei, I said his name about his facial expression, he goes like flat grey and gets like glowing eyes and just goes mental and just like fights about 20 folk.
That's similar to what Sans would probably do if Papyrus or something did care about was threatened.
They're quite similar in that fact, where it's like Sans only fights you when you've killed every single one, every single person except
for him.
Do you kill Asgore before you fight Sans, or is it?
I don't know actually.
I can't remember,
that
but
doesn't
I know,
matter. But I get what you mean. Like, Sans would only fight you if you've actually caused this much damage and harm.
yeah, because the way genocide works is you kill you kill everything in the area until there's none left, and then you move along and do the same. It's how it. Whereas, and then Sans does genuinely feel like, oh, you're a threat. I need to fight you.
Yeah. Right, but and I think you're right in all honesty. In more scenarios than not, Koro-Sensei takes it. There are scenarios where Koro-Sensei would have more of an incentive to fight, and the same goes for Sans, but probably not a drastic amount. But in not drastically more, but in more scenarios than not, Koro-Sensei would probably beat Sans. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair enough, especially if we can include the fact of Koro-Sensei could blow up the planet and kill Sans in it.
And also a point that I spoke to Biffy about this ages ago. This is I'm not going to speak about him, but we're going to speak about the discussion I had with him, because it was about how far Sans could actually teleport.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember exactly who it was that said it.
You spoke to me about this before.
There was some distance. I think it's when you got to there's like a canal or something. As you get on a boat,
there's like,
you get to the other side and Sans is there.
And Sans is already there.
And the person was saying, it wasn't Biffy, the person that they were speaking to, that he'd had the conversation with before, was saying he must have teleported there. But he made the argument that he'd had a series of short teleports to get there.
Yeah, we don't know
how far he can actually teleport, because I've not seen him teleport on screen.
Yeah, but he's never been shown. The most we've seen is he can dodge a nice blow. We've never seen him say, "Oh, he can teleport this far in one teleport."
Because it could be a series of short teleports, and then if Koro-Sensei realises that, he could get caught while teleporting. He could figure out the distance and just smack him. Yeah,
so it's not really. That's the one thing about it. Since Sans, you only fight him on one occasion. There's not much information to get. Oh, this is exactly how he works, how quick he is, how he attacks, how he does X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll wrap this up. I think you win this, in all honesty.
Okay, so that puts us at 1-1.
Yep. And then we'll get on to the next category. It's who would do better in the other's universe. So would Sans, another position actually. So would Sans do better as a teacher in whatever school it is?
Class 3. I can't remember the school name.
Yeah. Would Sans do better as that class's teacher, or would Koro-Sensei do a better job in Sans? Yeah, would they do a better job at just doing what Sans does?
Okay, this is our final segment 4. You've seen the previous 3. You know what we've done. We've just saved separate clips to make sure everything's going okay. So we've got section 4. This is going to be which character does better in each other's situation. So we've got Sans as being the teacher of class 3E and the target for the assassination, and we've got Koro-Sensei just doing general Sans shit, like being a good player, the virus interacting with Frisk, doing that kind of shit.
Yeah. Just existing in Undertale universe.
Just existing and like being Sun, pretty much. That's what Sans does. And I like the final fight, but other than that. So, do you want to go first, John?
If you'll wait for me to finish eating.
Okay. John is currently scanning a kebab.
Yeah, I've got a kebab. I was trying not to produce doner meat sound effects into the mic.
Doner meat is quite poggers for anyone that's like not had it before.
If you've never had a Scottish or British kebab, then I advise it.
Yeah, you should. They are.
American kebabs can't compare.
Those are kebabs you have at a barbecue, not like a.
Yeah, those are skewers. Those aren't kebabs.
They're skewers. Yeah, it's like you're having a barbecue. You'll have a burger, a sausage, a skewer, a chicken, and that.
Yeah.
There's like a kebab that's like chopped thinly sliced. They're just pog.
This is franchise fight, not food fight. So.
Oh, we could do a food episode.
Oh, we could.
I'm being serious.
That's something to consider. Who wins in a death battle? Oh, we actually could. Could do like Tony the Tiger versus Kool-Aid Man, and what's better? Kool-Aid.
Nah, I still think maybe my favourite Kool-Aid Man is Chup. Gibby versus Kool-Aid Man. I love that much.
We need to get back on topic.
we're going way off for this tangent, but I've already explained this will happen a lot.
Yeah.
But now, to finish off the food episode, I'm saying we do Ronald McDonald versus Colonel Sanders.
Good though.
That's not even a bad idea.
Ronald McDonald survived falling off a park bench. That's his durability feat.
Well, Colonel Sanders is an avid gamer and is the star of a dating simulator.
What?
KFC gaming, and there's a Colonel Sanders dating simulator game.
Is it real? Is it official?
It's an official KFC Colonel Sanders thing, and then there's also...
Right, time to move on. Time to move on.
Okay, yeah, well, this is...
We're not talking about that.
Okay.
All can really... Yeah.
Explains what's going on, and so just let's get into it. We're on topic.
There's not much to say. There will be a debate to it, but all I can really say about Sans is he's faster. He's definitely faster than Koro-Sensei, I think, at least.
Yeah.
So he would be harder to kill. And if he's in a scenario where he's actually been threatened by somebody who, like, because he knew Kara, which is why he let Kara kill him. He wouldn't have just let anybody kill him.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
So he wouldn't just let the government kill him or a bunch of fucking kids kill him.
He had the ketchup as well for the blood.
Mhm. Unless he's emotionally attached to them. Like if he was a teacher, he would probably do the same as Koro-Sensei. He'd probably survive long enough and then just give up.
Yeah, that's the one thing I have to say is, Sans, in honesty, is a lazy bastard. And he would do awful at being a teacher. Like, he falls asleep in the middle of the fight and that's how you kill him. And he's like, really just doesn't have like the effort. It seems like he'd be more of a pal than a teacher, whereas Koro-Sensei kind of gets the mix.
Koro-Sensei you can get on with and you can learn from, whereas Sans you would get on with, but he wouldn't teach because he's lazy. He would just sit on his arse.
Yeah, it'd be your pal. It's like, oh yeah, like if they had phones, it'd be like, oh yeah, you can play on your phone. You could sit and play. You could then play Clash of Clans. I don't care.
I played Clash of Clans and skills excellent.
Oh,
let's not talk about that.
We're getting off topic, but yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, but the one thing, Koro-Sensei, I feel like he'd be quite a good Sans, like, because think about it, Sans, one of the key things is he cares about his brother and wants him to, like, succeed. But I feel like Koro-Sensei would do a lot better job due to how he has a lot more motivation than Sans.
But he's not as lazy, he's distracted as much and he has more weaknesses, but...
He was able to teach someone like Nagisa, who's like the second smallest and the smallest boy in the class, probably like one of the smallest in general, who generally has like no upper body strength, to be who could have been instead of being a teacher could have been like one of the best assassins going. And I feel like he could do that for Papyrus. He can make Papyrus like a guard Papyrus wants to be.
He wants to be part of the Royal Guard, which is the group, and he needs to capture a human to join it. Yeah,
so I feel like and on that side of the Sans character, Koro-Sensei can make Papyrus solid and actually like be able to capture Frisk / Kara.
I think you're right actually, because Undyne's part of the Royal Guard and that's who Papyrus idolises, and he would totally show up Undyne, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would show up Undyne and he would be able to teach, like I was saying, the Assassination Classroom was able to like teach children like to be able to be like a lethal sniper and like good at assassination, and just teach them to be like good in life in general. Whereas I feel like
you're right, because if
being quite a immature character, I feel like Papyrus is also mature as well from it.
Like he would be able to teach Papyrus to do what he wanted. He would be able to get Papyrus into the Royal Guard if he still wanted that. He would be able to teach Papyrus to be strong enough to probably not even need to join the Royal Guard or want to.
Yeah, he would teach Papyrus a lot more. And on the other side of things, I feel like Koro-Sensei would interact more with Kara in the genocide route as well. I feel like he would be like, oh, wait, you killed Toriel. That's not good. You should like not try and do this. And like, I feel like he could maybe steer Kara off the rails a bit.
Yeah, maybe steer Kara away from actually doing that. Yeah.
I feel like because he is a genuine. Because he's like good at, I feel like he could like, yeah, that's not the right thing to do, you should maybe stop a bit, or you shouldn't. And the one thing I'd say he would do worse than Santan is the fight, because I feel like he would care too much about Kara than to like put up a solid fight.
Yeah, you're right.
Because I feel like he would try and like, he would still like, you can still like, you know, you kill Toriel and Genocide, how she just lets you do it.
Yeah.
I feel like Koro-Sensei would end up doing something a lot more similar to that.
Yeah, something more similar to that than what Sans did. I think you're completely right. In all honesty, I don't know. I'm not sure who to give the point to, but you're right, and you can see where I'm coming from as well.
I can see where you're coming from, but I personally feel Sans would do shit as a teacher.
Yeah, he wouldn't do good as a teacher, but he'd do a better job at surviving. He would do as good, if not a better job, at doing what Koro-Sensei does at not getting killed.
He would do better. The one thing is, he would still. I feel one thing about Sans is he doesn't have the inherent like BB resist. Like he doesn't need to be shot by BBs because he's killed by a normal knife. So I feel like Sans might end up dying in the first episode that has Professor Bitch in it, when like she ambushes Koro-Sensei. Like,
is that her name?
Shit ton. No, it's like you're in a yellow bitch, but she gets called Professor Bitch.
Oh, I thought you said bitch.
Yeah, that's what I said. She gets called Professor Bitch.
Oh right, sorry, it's hard to understand what you're saying.
It's fine. No, but basically she ambushes Koro-Sensei like tons of people on big machine guns. He survives it because bullets don't hurt him.
Yeah.
But I feel like Sans could die from that. He
Possibly.
might outspeed it, but because it's such a small space in a locked room.
He could teleport
and there's so much bullets. That's what
to think about. He would die from a gunshot, but he'd be able to teleport out of the room, or he'd be able to block it with bones, be able to make a barrier out of them.
Yeah, that's it. But I still feel like he would do better at surviving, but he would not be like the students would struggle a lot more. And like one of the big things about Koro-Sensei's character is how he is getting the students to be like better, and because the whole point of E-class is like, oh, they're the worst of the worst, they're the shit, they're stupid. And then like
Sans wouldn't be any better than them in all honesty. Sans is lazy as fuck. He doesn't go do much.
Yeah, most Sans would do is like, it'd be like, oh, who cares what they say? Let's go play some games, or like.
Have you heard of a game for PC and PS4 called Undertale?
Yeah, it's like it'd be something like that. So honestly, and Nintendo Switch, and I think it's getting put on Xbox.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? But I think Sans wouldn't do as good a job at teaching as Koro-Sensei would. Sensei would do a better job, as you said, about dismaying Kara from doing what they did and getting Papyrus to his goals, which is what Sans really should be doing. But Sans would do probably as good, if not a better job, at avoiding being killed than Koro-Sensei.
I know I've got a bit of a bias, but I know, because I'm debating for Koro-Sensei, I feel like Koro-Sensei's got this round.
Yeah, because he does more better.
He would do a lot better as a Sans, even
than Sans would as Koro-Sensei.
Other than the final fight, whereas Sans would only really be good at not getting killed. He wouldn't. I don't know if he would probably still care about the students, but he wouldn't have like. He wouldn't be as invested in what's going on, and like I said earlier on about how Koro-Sensei went out of his way to dress up as Kurosama for Nagisa's moth to make sure he stayed in E-class and that.
Yeah.
I feel like Sans would just be like, you're out of E-class, that's good for you, and let him leave. It's that kind of thing.
I get what you mean.
So
Sans wouldn't do as good of a job as a teacher as Koro-Sensei would like, as Sans.
Koro-Sensei is more of a teacher than like an assassination target, and I think that's one of the main. I'll say that's more, in my opinion, that's like a bigger point of this show, is him being a teacher than being like, oh, they need to kill him.
Oh, you're right, because even though Sans would do better, I think he probably would do better at being an assassination target. He'd be harder of a target to get. But
it'd be hard.
But Koro-Sensei does still at that. Koro-Sensei still does better than him in his universe. Like much better.
Yeah, much better. Like helping out Papyrus or Kara, and like it would generally just be us. It would generally be able to probably like help those characters grow and be better.
Yeah.
And like the only thing I'd say, the downside is he would probably let Kara kill him instead of doing a big mental fight.
Yeah.
Than Sans did.
Yeah. I say we wrap this part up, yeah.
We're gonna call this and say that's it, and that's section 4 done.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've heard the 4 sections, we're back, we've saved the clips, and now this is the final bit, the conclusion. So,
Yep.
Looking at, so I've got the scores written down on a bit of paper. So section 1, which was what's the better overall series, undoubtedly went to Undertale due to genuinely standing out a lot more and being more iconic, especially with the music and just that.
Yeah. Undertale's more substantial than Assassination Classroom, even though both series are good, undoubtedly.
Both series are really good, but like more people have heard of Undertale, and the music is such a big part of Undertale. It gives
it's phenomenal,
that much an edge. It's like I used to listen to like Undertale remixes and all that.
Oh, everybody did in like 2016, 2017.
2016, Shara X, Undertale remixes.
Yeah.
Section 2 which was the best character. We really couldn't come to like an overall conclusion because they're both really strong characters. So
really compelling characters.
We've left that as a draw. You can argue about it in the comments, so we're just gonna say there's no points awarded for that. So for the first 2 sections, it's 1-0 to Undertale. Now, section 3, the death battle, which is the longest section we've worked out, is that went to Koro-Sensei and Assassination.
Yeah, we decided Koro-Sensei would more often than not win a fight against Sans.
He would win in more situations. There's still always Sans is still stupid, powerful, but also due to the fact of how much Undertale statistics are like not that flat out, and we don't have like hard evidence. Oh, Sans is this, Sans can do that.
There's no real scaling, there's no real comparisons to make.
It makes it a lot harder to say, oh yeah, Sans will win all the time. So then we gave the point to Koro-Sensei, and the final section, who did better in each other's situation. So we came to the conclusion that Koro-Sensei does better as Sans in everything but the final fight, due to the fact he would probably care too much about Kara and just let Kara kill him.
Yeah, and in the Assassination Classroom universe, Sans would do good as an assassination target. He would do as good, if not better, than Koro-Sensei did at not getting assassinated.
Could do better
than
Koro-Sensei due to his speed.
But he's not a good teacher. He wouldn't be a good teacher for the class. He wouldn't have as many emotional bonds or attachments to the pupils and die in the same way or in a similar way to Koro-Sensei.
He would still care about the students, I would say, but I wouldn't say he'd have as much like a deep connection. Like they'd also undoubtedly be doing a lot more worse in school today. It sounds like, oh yes, today's our maths lesson. Oh fuck that, let's just pass about.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, and that's pretty much his attitude. It's like, he's lazy, he's gotta do that. So the final.
Sorry, you can say the final score. Okay. Sorry.
So the final score we've got is 2-1 to Assassination Classroom, but we've got the draw. So honestly, you can work out between yourselves in the comments and like on Twitter, on anything else. Just argue what's the better series overall.
Yeah.
Like what's got the better character? Get your honest opinion. I would honestly like to see your takes on this.
Yeah, me as well. And if we made any mistakes, then let us know in the comments or anyway by messaging us if you've seen this through Discord or whatever, because this is loosely scripted. This is loosely scripted. This isn't we've written out exactly what we're saying. This is just us sitting for an hour speaking about topics that we've written down.
Yeah, I've got some loose points and I've just been speaking and counter-arguing. It's not been like, and let us know what you think of the series in general, because it's the first episode. I've personally enjoyed recording this.
I've enjoyed it as well. I'd be willing to do more, and once COVID's restrictions have loosened off, we can actually get to a recording studio and get better quality and more episodes.
Recording. And then we'll also eventually get some of our friends and other YouTubers on as guests. And then by contacting, and then hopefully we'll even get longer episodes because we'll have guests.
Yeah.
Especially when we have 2 guests. So I'd be aiming for double. I'd hopefully get double in.
Yeah.
But I'd say we've gone on for a good hour, which was my personal goal for the first episode. Get an hour, explain what's going on, debate about the series, and we've definitely reached that.
Yeah.
So the overall winner is Koro-Sensei. And what was I say?
I was going to say we shouldn't say too much about guests of our episodes yet because they're not really set in concrete. This is the only one we've actually planned out properly.
Yeah, these are just ideas we'll be doing. we've got second episode. Do I say what it is, or do I leave it?
Oh, I could.
I'm thinking we do a teaser.
Oh, we'll say one of the series and that's it.
Okay. What one you saying? You saying?
I'll say My Hero Academia.
Okay, so our next episode will be My Hero Academia versus someone, and I'm personally gonna say it's gonna be an explosive episode in my opinion.
Oh, that's just giving it away, but yeah.
Well, it's giving it away a bit, but...
Yeah, but oh well, who's that bothered about finding out?
Oh yeah, I really didn't want to find out the next franchise fight is going to be X versus Y. Oh.
What the fuck is franchise fight?
That
would be a most... I'm not that would be the most common response because it's only one episode.
Yeah. Well, this is our first episode, but like, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out, subscribe to DaGamingGamer/John. My Twitch might be in the description. I'll do that occasionally.
Yeah.
But just help John. Our good friend Paradise City. In the description, he's done avatars and that. We'll have a link to Spotify if we can get it on Spotify somehow. And genuinely, just let us know what you thought of the episodes, what you think of the show in general.
If you have any more ideas for episodes, or you have any opinions for the next episode, or you have anything to say about this one, let us know in the comments.
And hopefully this does well and we can continue it, because I've enjoyed this.
Yeah. Right, other than that, I think that's it done.
Okay, I'll see you in the next episode.